on the law has contributed to misunderstandings and violations. He said mercenary herders who do not adhere to local customs and regulations are largely responsible for the escalation of clashes between farmers and herders in rural communities.
Herders and farmers aside, how many of us in the public know about this open grazing law? It's many people are aware of. And what is the enforcement? There's enforcement. There's no enlightenment. There's no enforcement unit or persons to ensure that this open grazing law is enforced. So it's kind of latent. It's just there. It's talking about it. Nobody knows about it. This is one of the areas we also discovered that on the side of government is lacking.
Oho said herders doing open grazing vary.
There are three types of these herders. They are not all just the same. You have the core herders, mostly these Fulanis who have known down the ages. They are mercenary herders. They are hired to just oversee and feed their living. You can't hold on to them. They are nomadic. They are more nomadic than the normal, the traditional Fulani living we know. And then they just move down who are contracted for a specific period of specific time.
He, however, advocated for the establishment of a permanent agency to handle the crisis. Moving on, as the state of emergency declared in Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu nears 2 months, a public affairs analyst, Mr. Obinwa Akanwa, says the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, has not shown enough sincerity to make Governor Fubara supporters believe he truly wants peace in Rivers State. Mr. Akanwa said this in an interview with correspondent Obioroware while reacting to recent comments by the FCT minister about his readiness for peace to end the emergency rule in the state.
I've followed his comments over time, and I have issues wrapping my head around the sincerity of purpose as to how peace can return back to Rivers State politically. There seem to have been a whole lot of contradictions in statement. It creates a cloud of doubt as to his sincerity, so that let it not look as if somebody is trying to play the ostrich or play the king while the other ones are playing the servants in the whole scenario.
An analyst, Mr. Libros Oshoma, says former Minister of Transportation Chibike Amechi's recent comments about confronting the presidency show that true democracy existed during his time in office. Oshoma says Amechi and his fellow governors were able to speak out back then because former President Goodluck Jonathan allowed democracy to flourish and not because of how Amechi presented it.
I would say it more as a president who understands the tenets of democracy, which is Goodluck Jonathan, and didn't use most of the presidential powers he had against the then governor. But today, we have a president whose style of politics is different. If this president were the president under Amechi, I bet half of the things that he did under Jonathan, they wouldn't have been able to try, because this man understands what it means to use power. You had Goodluck Jonathan, who was a Democrat. So it wasn't because the Amechi were too powerful. It was because they took advantage of a man who saw, democracy as opportunity for everybody to participate.
Mr. Oshoma also encouraged Nigerians to start supporting politicians who are truly committed to practicing real democracy.
Not practice democracy really, but rather dictatorship of the ruling class against those that they are ruling. Every governor would want to pocket the state house of assembly, the same way every president would pocket the National Assembly and the governors. My advice to Nigerians is that we look beyond party, vote in people, credible people who will be able to truly say, yes, let's practice democracy. People who will allow others have their say, just like we had under Goodluck Jonathan. Even though I'm not saying Goodluck Jonathan was the best, but you could see that he had enormous power as president, but he didn't use them the way we've seen Obasanjo, Tinubu doing. We also saw Buhari.
An Abuja-based political analyst, Tom Oga, disagrees with Amechi's claims. He said the political environment today is different from what it used to be.
And he has forgotten that the dynamics of politics in those days are not the same as the dynamics of today. He's partisan And I think he's trying to exonerate himself from the rot of the political rot that's on ground today. I don't blame him. Who go talk say Mama soup no sweet. He's trying to exonerate himself to say in our time it was better. Well, okay, to be very, very fair with him. That is what human beings always say. You may be worse than the people that are on ground now, but you always want to refer to in our time. In our time.
Now recall that the former River State Governor Chibike Amechi, while speaking at the public launch of Sule Lamido's autobiography titled Being True to Myself, said that if he and former Governor Lamido were still in power, they would have stood up to President Bola Tinubu over the country's current problems. Away from that, the coordinator of the Transition Monitoring Group in River State, Mr. Nathaniel Abbas, has called on INEC and the National Assembly to ensure that the proposed electoral reform includes electronic transmission of election results. Recall that INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu on Monday assured that there would be electoral reforms before the 2027 general elections. Speaking with correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu, Abbas advised INEC chairmen and lawmakers to pay attention to issues that will improve the electoral system.
Intent behind this should be what all Nigerians will welcome. Very importantly, listening to the INEC chairman, you will hear the things that bother Nigerians are not what they are mentioning right now. They are mentioning things that are still particular to political parties when they are supposed to submit names of candidates and when they are not supposed to submit names of candidates, when they are supposed to appoint resident electoral commissioners and when they are not supposed. What Nigerians want is the direct electronic transmission of results. If all these are not captured in this reform, all what they are doing will still amount to a mirage.
Mr. Abbas also believes that if the country's electoral system is reformed, Nigerians would not be worried about the appointment of acquaintances of politicians as resident electoral commissioner.
Ordinarily, the law does not permit INEC official to be a card-carrying member of any political party in Nigeria. If such a person is, that person is automatically disqualified. However, those may not be our problem. If the Electoral Act of 2023 is amended to carry out the real intentions of our elections, then we don't have any problem. That may not be a challenge, but it's not what is expected. No INEC official is expected to be a member of any political party.
The administrator of Ikwere local government area, Christian Njobao, has formally welcomed the 2025 Batch A Stream 1 core members posted to the area. The core members were received at the council secretariat in Isiokbo. Presenting the 130 core members, the NYSC inspector for Ikwere, Rosaline Wabweze, praised the council for its continued support and commitment to the welfare of core members serving in the area.
We want to say thank you. Came to say we appreciate. Yesterday, our movement from camp to the local government was easy for us because we have a father that cares about our welfare. Even while we have not seen face to face, our transportation from the camp and entertainment was made easy. That is why we deem it fit to come and say thank you, Daddy, for all you have done for us. God bless you, sir.
In his response, Mr. Njobao assured the new core members of a rewarding service here in Ikwere. He encouraged them to approach their national assignment with discipline and dedication.
We're happy to receive you and to also make sure that your stay here is memorable. You are highly welcome to Ikwere Government. Ikwere Government is a beautiful, edgy, semi-urban city, thriving with development. Whenever you find yourself in Ikwere Government, you are secure. Nobody will molest you. Nobody will harm you. You are expected to go about your national assignment as they be assigned to you diligently.
Our correspondent reports that the Ikwere local government area boss also inaugurated members of the newly formed sanitation marshals to boost environmental cleanliness in the area. He further received the report of a 7-man ad hoc committee set up to investigate the recent vandalism of the council secretariat. Still to come, resignation calls intensify for JAMB registrar as he admits errors in the 2025 UTME. In tears, stay with us.
Celebration of a fulfilled life. The Ichoku family in
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back, and now the rest of the news. A state high court in Okehi has annulled the recognition of Godwin Ogu as the Onyishi Agboro of Olakwa clan. Recall that in 2023, the Rivers State government issued a certificate of office recognizing Ogu as a monarch, but in a judgment delivered by Justice G.V. Obomano on May 9, 2025, the court gave a perpetual injunction restraining Godwin Ogu from parading as Onyishi Agboro and chairman of Olakwa Clan Council of Traditional Rulers and Chiefs or any other council of chiefs in Eche local government area. The court, in a suit number OHC/180/CS/2024, held that the purported certificate and every other action relating to the recognition are unlawful. It said Olakwa Clan and the chieftaincies too of Onyishi Agboro of Olakwa Clan never existed in Eche, adding that the recognition was inconsistent with the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Law of 2015. Justice Obomano also awarded a cost of 500,000 naira against Ogu in favor of the Onyishi Agboro of Olakwa Muslim clan, Ezekiel Nwala, who is the claimant in the suit. And now the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has removed a foreign national, Eli Bitar, from the wanted list for crypto bridge exchange CBEX fraud. The anti-graft agency had on April 30th declared Bitar wanted over the alleged fraud perpetrated on the CBEX trading platform. The EFCC included Bitar's name in the wanted notice it published across social media platforms. But in a statement on Wednesday, EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale said Bitar's name has been removed from the wanted list, citing the availability of new information. He said the commission is making good progress in its investigation. On to education now. Calls for the resignation of the registrar of the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, JAMB, Isha Koloyene, intensified on Wednesday. This is after he broke down in tears during a media briefing in Abuja while admitting that there were errors that affected the performance of candidates during the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination held across different centers. Announced that about 379,000 candidates in the just concluded academic exercise will retake the examination from tomorrow.
Once again, we apologize and assure you that this incident represents a significant setback. We remain committed to emerging stronger in our core values of transparency, fairness, and equity. It is our culture to admit error because we know that in spite of the best of our efforts, we are human. We are not perfect.
Scores of people took to their social media platforms to express outrage over the UTME results situation and demand the JAMB registrar's resignation. An education analyst, Jacob Sule, in his online post while calling for the registrars to step aside, said a country should not be governed by emotions or personal sentiments. He said Professor Oloyede's immediate resignation will allow for a full-scale, independent and transparent investigation. He also demanded a formal apology to the affected student, who he said have endured undue stress and discomfort. The analyst further said accountability and empathy are essential for restoring public trust in the country's institutions. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Nigeria Nsukka branch, has threatened to sue the Joint Matriculation Board over massive failure recorded in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Exam. The chairman of ASU, UNN, Comrade Oyibo Eze, who made the disclosure while briefing newsmen in Nsukka on Wednesday, said the massive failure, which mostly affected candidates from the southeast, was a deliberate attempt by JAMB to stop children from the zone from getting admission. In the meantime, angry parents of underage candidates are demanding that their children's result be released by JAMB. Now, they say there is no justification for withholding a result because the children are underage. On the spot, the president of the Parents Teachers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Danjuma Haruka, commended Oloyede for openly admitting to the technical glitches that affected the UTME candidate. Aduka praised Oloyede's honesty and called on other government agencies to emulate such transparency. He demanded further clarity on the nature of the error that disrupted the examination. As you may know, a technical review conducted by JAMB revealed that a critical oversight in server updates coupled with human error led to the invalidation of the 2025 UTME result for over 379,000 candidates in the 5 states of the Southeast and Lagos. In other news, the members of the Incorporated Trustees of the Rutwoko Progressive Union have announced the peaceful passing to glory of one of their founder members, late Reverend Canon Elkanah Nwaolu, retired. Now, this is contained in a statement jointly signed by the President, Mr. Yoma Odu, Secretary, Mr. Azubike Isaac, and Public Relations Officer, Mr. Chiadi Nwagu. The union described Nwaolu as a tireless leader and generous contributor whose impact on the union and community will not be forgotten. They extended their condolences to his family and urged them to stay strong and uphold his worthy legacy. The union said burial details will be communicated by the family. We're going on a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the news.
Gokana Local Government Area Special Sanitation Day.
That could be used as distribution centers for humanitarian aid in a controversial new plan. The Israeli government suspended food and medicine deliveries into Gaza in March. Ministers said the move, which has been condemned by UN, European, and Middle Eastern leaders, was intended to put pressure on Hamas to release its remaining hostages. Israel also accused Hamas of stealing aid, an allegation the group has denied. That's a wrap on the news this morning. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Mercenary herders have been blamed for escalating farmer herder clashes in Rivers communities. An analyst is questioning the FCT Minister Wike's sincerity as Rivers emergency rule nears 2 months. AFCC has removed a foreign national from CBEC's wanted list. Resignation calls have intensified for JAMB registrar after he admitted errors in the 2025 UTME in tears. On the foreign scene, construction sites have appeared in Gaza ahead of the Israeli-US aid plan rejected by UN. The news was edited by Chioma Ezenwafo. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Mwanyeli. Many thanks for listening.